Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It's Wednesday, February 7th, and we are joining you to try to help you make better financial decisions. And maybe you're just listening because you're a voyeur. Instead of listening, which I know everybody loves to do, why don't you give us a holler? Talk about what's going on in your financial life. Anything in the programs that we talk about might be a prompt. And obviously, when we give you advice and you're on the phone, kind of sort of say, well, it's really that person. It may not be you who's listening. So if you want a little bit more of a direct approach, give us a holler. Go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button. Of course, check that box. Let us know if you'd be willing to come on the air. While you're on the website, bookmark it because all of our content lives there. So you can be able to see when we put a new blog post up or there's a new video. And, I'm doing a lot more TV. So there's fun stuff in the video section. You can just judge my outfits every day. Oh, wait. I have a mother who does that. You don't need to do that. Anyway, today we are very delighted to be joined by Donna, who's on the line from Georgia. Hi, Donna.
Hi, Jill. How are you?
Doing very well. What brings you to us today?
Well, my husband and I have been put in a situation where we are taking care of my widowed mother, and I wanted to know if we did everything the right way or if there are things we should change because this is kind of a new development.
Okay, quick questions. The few little basic ones. How old is Mom?
Mom is 76. She'll be 77 in June.
Okay, and how old are you?
I am 55.
And husband?
54.
You guys have kids?
2 college boys.
Oh, boy. And they're taken care of? Like, how's your own financial situation now that, they're good? They're good.
Yes. One is graduating in May, so he's about to come off the payroll. And the other one has in Georgia, if you have above a certain GPA and you go to the state school, he goes to the University of Georgia, you go to school for free.
Ooh, God, I love your kids.
I love them too.
Of course you'd love them if they were like, well, but I really want to go to blank, whatever, fill in the blank. And you'd be like, I love you, but really free is better. So congratulations. Yeah. That's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And you and your husband, you guys both working?
Yeah, I actually just went back to part-time. My husband works full-time and, we're good. I mean, we've got about $2 million saved for retirement and don't plan on retiring for like 10 years and have all of our documents done and all that fun stuff.
Okay. So tell me how a very highly responsible adult comes to take care of a 76-year-old. So tell us the story. What happened?
So, when my mom was a little younger than me, when she was 51, my dad was 56, he died suddenly of a heart attack. And very sad. And he was a great guy and all that. But he did his due diligence and he left my mom with about $1 million, a paid off house, and 2 paid off cars.
Okay, let me just do that again. Left mom with $1 million, right? She didn't work, right?
She did not work. Mm-mm.
Okay, so she gets $1 million, a paid off house, and 2 cars and 2 cars paid off.
Yeah, and no debt.
And no debt. Okay. And did dad totally take care of everything?
Pretty much. I mean, she did like the household budget.
Yeah.
Took care of the investments and all that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so immediately after he died, I hooked her up with a financial advisor that I knew that took care of, they called him the widow maker because he took care of.
Yeah.
And so he set her up, but she just kind of went on a spending spree. She built a new house, got new cars. Of course, during the, preceding 10 years, I have 3 sisters. We all had kids. So 9 grandchildren were born. So there was a lot of gifting of clothes and, she
was feeling large because I'm grieving, but also I got $1 million. I got a paid off house. I'm fine.
Yeah.
But you're 51, so you're young.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So the financial advisor could do all he wanted to do, but if she's like, send me $300,000, you, Donna, or your siblings don't know that that's happening. You know that she built a new house, but did you know that there was $1 million left over?
we knew I knew the immediate financial situation because I helped her get through it.
Mm-hmm.
But then every time she wanted to do something, or anytime we talked to her about money, she would get angry and just say, "It's my money."
It was true, because it sounds like you're about to tell me that what happened to the $1 million. So now it is 25 years later.
Yes.
And tell me what happened to the $1 million. What's left?
She came to me early in 2023 at a point where she, kind of opened up her books. Like, I kind of forced her. I mean, obviously over the course of all these years, my sisters and I have spoken about it. But again, it's not our life, not our money.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very difficult and she didn't lose her mind.
No. And so essentially fast forward 25 years, she was about $35,000 in credit card debt.
Oh,
she had about $200,000 left. And when her advisor retired, she got bounced around to all these different places and ended up with some young buck at Edward Jones who had that $200,000 in 17 different funds.
Of course, because 17 is much better than 13 or 10 or 4. Yep.
And she had a car loan, and she was now living in a condo that had it was worth about $375,000. She had about $100,000 mortgage on it.
So this is early last year.
This is early last year.
And you must have been so freaked.
Yeah.
I mean, so you have 3 siblings? Is that what you said?
I have 3 siblings. I'm the oldest, and I'm the most financially secure.
Okay.
The other sisters, there's been a couple divorces and a domestic violence situation.
Oy.
So they're fine on their own, but none of them are really, and we all have college age kids, every single one of us. So
yeah, everyone's sandwiched. Right?
Yeah. And So nobody's really in a position as well as I was to help. Not that I was in the greatest position to help because it was unplanned. So initially what I did was, she had about $235,000 in Edward Jones, and I took the 35 and paid off all the credit card debt.
Great. Smart. Brilliant. What about the car loan?
So this is kind of what I did. And I want to know if I did it right or if there's any adjustments I should make.
Okay.
I gave her the option to stay in her condo in Ohio. It needed a new roof. It was a weird condo because she had to do the roof. It needed a new roof. The bathroom needed to be redone because if she was going to age in place, it was not going to work. It was just getting older and needed work. But there was no cash to do that work.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't have enough equity in the house to do a reverse mortgage.
And she's not that old.
And she's not that old. So there's that. And so I said, you decide what you want to do. You can move down here. The cost of living's a little bit less. Mm-hmm. And then I found something called the Family Opportunity Mortgage.
Mm-hmm. Tell me more.
Okay, so Family Opportunity Mortgage allows you to buy a second property, and it's treated as a first property as far as rates and taxes go as your primary residence.
Yeah.
Or an elderly parent that cannot qualify for a mortgage, or if you have a disabled adult child.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I discovered this, and so what we decided to do was her options were to stay put, and we would try to figure it out, or to come down here and my husband and I would purchase a condo, but she would have to pay the mortgage on it because we couldn't afford to do that.
Yeah.
But
I got that.
We had the savings to, purchase the condo with 20% down and do the renovations needed.
Okay. That sounds good. So is that what she had to pick that?
Yeah, that's what she picked to do.
How much was the condo that you bought in Georgia?
The condo was $250,000. We put $50,000 down. It was, it never hit the market because it was in a highly desirable place. Mm-hmm. And the guy that lived there had been in a nursing home the past 2 years and never did any updates. So it was built in 1988. We had to go in and pretty much gut it. We spent about $85,000.
Okay. So you put 50 down, you spent 85 of your own money, and you have a $200,000 mortgage, but not at a great rate.
7.6.
Okay.
And our house is paid off, so it's so painful.
Oh, jeez.
So painful.
Okay, I know. But so now, just quick question. So mom comes to Georgia.
Yes.
She had 275 grand in equity,
Correct.
right? So what is that, the money that's left in the 17 funds, or is that separately?
No, that's separate. So the Edward Jones money I pulled and moved to Fidelity.
Okay, good job.
Put it in a couple index funds.
Perfect.
So that's just sitting there.
And wait, just want to make sure one other thing. That's a taxable account. That's not retirement, right?
That's a taxable account. Correct.
Got it. Okay, got it. Great.
She cleared about $247,000 or something like that from the sale of the condo once she paid, for the real estate fees and all that.
Sure.
That money I took $200,000 and put it in. I made a CD ladder with $100,000, and the other $100,000 is sitting in a Fidelity money market earning 5%.
Okay.
$40,000 of it, I paid off $20,000 of her car.
Of course.
And the other $20,000 we, spent moving her down. I let her, but bought all new furniture, didn't move a lot of her furniture.
Yeah.
That sort of thing, like the little moving expenses that come up. There's about $6,000 left of that.
All right. So let's just put that aside for a second. Most importantly, there is $200,000, of which half of this is a CD ladder, half is in money market, and then there's another $200,000 that is invested in the Fidelity account that is index funds.
Correct.
So mom has $400,000, thanks to you, by the way, because I'm sure she would have zero if she waited much longer, half of which is cash, which is great. That's exactly what should happen. Okay. That is you've done an incredible job. What is mom's income right now? Social Security, and that's it? Or pension?
It's $1,900 in Social Security every month. Mm-hmm. And then she gets a small pension, $339 every month. So the way I set it up is my husband and I pull money from that Fidelity cash account every month, and we cover the mortgage, the HOA, her water bill, and her electric bill. So she has no bills. She doesn't worry about anything. Good. The rest of the money goes into her personal checking account, and I just turn a blind eye to it. Like, she can do whatever the hell she wants with it. She's responsible for her car insurance, getting her hair dyed, her cell phone, and, other little groceries and that sort of thing. But,
you have essentially taken the bat out of her hands because you made sure. So is she a risk for doing this again, like running up credit card, or do you have an eye on everything?
Well, okay. Yes, she is a risk. And so what I did was, when she moved down here, the very first thing we did was switch my dad had a trust. So we just switched it all to Georgia, and I am the financial POA on it.
Okay. I love you. You are so good to her. You're saving her. It's a great story. It sucks, but talk about a role reversal, but my God, how has it been for you guys? Not just like having her move there, which is a lot.
Yeah. She lived with us for 3 months during renovations.
Okay. So it's better than that.
Yeah. We moved her in, and she's doing great. It was tough. It was tough. I'm not going to lie. It was tough. Thank God I have a good husband.
Oh, he's a saint.
Yeah, he is.
Do you feel like she gets it now?
She does get it. She cried, and, obviously, and she has said thank you many times, but that doesn't change, 50 years of bad spending habits.
Well, I'm going to say, I'm not going to go back 50 years, 25 for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And yeah, so,
Okay. But first of all, kudos to you. Is there any time where you thought, how did I not know about this? Like, what could you have done? That's what I'm trying to think. Like, is there a moment where, if you're 50 years old and your spouse drops dead, you're going to be like, I'm on my own, right? And you were young. And like you said, you were like raising your family and doing your thing. But do you feel like there was ever a point where you had a sense like, I wonder if everything's okay with mom, where you might have intervened earlier, or do you think that was just never going to happen?
Listen, the whole time I thought this is a problem. And
you did?
Yeah, my sisters and I would talk about it, but I lived in Georgia. They all lived in Ohio. I was removed because I was so far away, so I could easily shake it off.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, I could have come to her earlier. How much earlier? I don't know. I don't know if she would have, I don't know if it would have made a difference.
I know it's very difficult. I have friends who have gone through this with their parents where the information is revealed late. And it's like you actually in a weird way, like, thank God she came clean last year because it could have been zero. It could have been like, oh, I got a reverse mortgage on my condo and I have no money left and I have 80 grand in credit card debt. And you would have been left with, I hope you die soon because I don't want to clean this up. It's literally the only way it gets fixed. So to me, you've done a miraculous job, truly a miraculous job. Does it look like you're pulling money? So of the cash part of it. So I'm happy, like the Fidelity taxable account invested, fine. But of the 100 grand that's in the money market, are you pulling money out of that at all or not?
Yes. We pulled $2,100 a month to pay the mortgage and the HOA and her utility bills.
And that's going to be what it's going to be. So that's why you have to have this money set aside. And then the Social Security, the 2,200 is just going to her to pay her stuff, which is really not that much, but then she has some agency and you don't feel like you have to infantilize her 100%, just 85%.
Right. That's exactly what's happening. And she actually just said to me, it's kind of hard to make ends meet. And I said, I'm really sorry for you. I said, I'm really sorry. You're going to have to figure it out.
Oh, Donna, that is the moment where you could just easily snap. So you're so good. You are so good. Really, you are I don't think I can give you any advice except to give you like the hugest hug in the world because how hard this must be for you. Your siblings should also be thrilled that you're taking care of this. They know that this money's going to go away. They know that like basically because your mom's healthy, right?
She's pretty healthy. Yeah.
All right. So she could live for 15 years. You're going to spend all the money down.
Right.
Okay. So the only thing that I would say is this. You want to have 2 years of that, of that money. You have it. You have like 3 years, 4 years in the money market. But as the CD ladder comes due and as those CDs come due, you're probably not going to be able to invest any of this money. You may 5, 8 years from now be saying to yourself, let me just give Jill a call and make sure that I have the money that you need for the following 2 years should always be in cash. And so if you're running through and you've got your last CD coming due and there's no money, you go into that taxable account and you start draining it. You just have to. And at some point, it's going to be okay or it's not. And then you guys, thankfully, the kids are going to kind of be done. You guys are going to have to make a decision about like, well, is mom moving in with us? What are we going to do? You are not there. You have enough money, essentially 25 grand a year. You're going to be okay for some years. So we're going to have to see where she goes. I mean, if your husband is sainted, I am not of the Christian or Catholic faith. So what happens after you become a saint? Because that's what would have to happen with your husband.
I know, right? Yeah, I don't know. And we're hoping that interest rates go down because, of course, this all happened at the height of it all.
Yeah, I know.
We can refinance because we never really wanted this investment property and actually take her rent down.
Okay. Well, look, you'll be able to refinance in the next group of years. You really will be. There's the seduction is, oh my God, it's 7.6%. Let me take the money that's in the cash and pay off all of the mortgage, but you shouldn't. No. We need that. We need access to our cash. Yeah. And you guys cannot pull out of your accounts right now. Let's keep this clean for as long as we can. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, there may be a time where you guys have to start paying for something and it'll suck. Okay. And it will not be using her money. Let's get to that when we get to that. I do think for your own planning purposes, just because you're both young and you're both working, what would be helpful is you guys should have a little extra money in cash, not so much this second, but like in 5 years, you'll want to have a little pool of money that's like, just in case for mom. And then you're going to have to make a decision. Like, can she stay on her own? Like, is that something she can do? Is she fully capable of like taking care of herself? You'll have to make different decisions with the information you have at the time. Really, it is an incredible gift. I almost feel like, there probably wasn't anything to do. But for all of us who are watching aging parents, right? You have that moment where you're like, oh my God, I'm taking care of everything. And it's like a pain in the ass. Clearly, it's like a burden and it's hard. And then you say, well, all right, they took care of us. Okay. That's how you do like your next step of like, there's your, okay, I can sort of get through this. But then you get to the other side of that and you're like, okay, but I was a child. They're an adult. And that's the part that's the disconnect. Like someone said to me, well, they took care of me my whole life. I'm like, okay, but that's like the job of a parent. So your mom sounds like she has found the religion. However, when she says things like, I don't have that much money, you say, I think that the answer is, oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, not like tough tarts, mom, but like, yep, I know. It's like, it's a bummer because of all those choices you made for those 25 years. That's a drag. I get it. That must be a drag for you, mom, which is easy for me to say. I'd be like snapping my mom's head off.
Listen, I have no problem saying that. I mean, the resentment comes in is that my husband and I both came from, like, he's very self-made. He grew up, single mom, loans through school, all of that. And we got ourselves here. Like, we taught ourselves money. And so we don't want to jeopardize everything we've worked so hard for to support her.
I was just talking to somebody actually at Fidelity, and I was asking them, like, do you have an expert in like intergenerational planning? We had this funny conversation because I really want to talk about this so much more on the pod, because I feel like people are dealing with this both up a generation and down a generation. That, we see these reports that like, oh, some bizarre number of parents are taking care of, like, are still paying money towards their 20 and 30 somethings, whereas like I was lucky. I grew up in a family with money, but I never took money from my parents after I graduated from college ever. Like that would be like, I would be like, oh, no way.
You just didn't do it.
So it's very generational. Like, oh, and I know. So before the young ones do write in, yes, I grew up with a family with money, so I was lucky. I had a safety net. I graduated into a good job market, and we are in your 50s. So if you're like Gen X, Boomer, Gen X, and older millennials, yes, we caught great waves in the economy. We get all that, but we still like never in a million years would you go to your parents because it just wasn't really done unless you had been kind of a screw up. And now it's done constantly. So I guess that the lesson here is that when you have a sudden death, it is good, perhaps, to insert yourself and say to a parent, if they're willing, again, your mom may not have been willing, hey, mom, can I come with you to that financial advisor's office? In some respects, I think that it's almost like medical, like when my mother's like, I'll go to the doctor myself. And I'm like, I don't know. Like either my sister or I go to every single doctor's appointment with my mother now, because we're not sure that she's actually going to hear every single thing that's said to her. And so maybe that's the lesson for all of us as we're in our 50s, is that we start to say to our parents, you know what, just like in healthcare, it's hard to like capture everything. I'll be the note taker. I'll keep my mouth shut. I'll be the note taker. Yeah.
I mean, I did the first year it happened, and then it just kind of slowly unraveled from there. And you could tell she was grief shopping. I mean,
yeah.
There's not much you can do, and she's 53. I mean, if someone told me right now how I was going to spend my money, I certainly would tell them to take a hike.
I had this with a friend of mine who is a widow, and she literally said to me, as it turns out, distraction from my grief is very expensive. I'm like, yeah, it is. And that has to stop. That has to stop.
Yeah.
So, all right, Donna, you're doing a great job.
Okay, thank you.
Saint Donna's husband, we're going to give him a special, he gets some sort of crown, not a crown of thorns, like a crown, a real crown. He gets it. It sounds like you know that. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, I took him on a cruise in January, just the two of us, to like regroup and relax from this trauma of the past 6 months.
It's a lot. It is a lot. And I cannot thank you enough for sharing it. If you need anything else along the way, of course, but you don't need anything. You're perfect. You're amazing. You've done a great job.
Okay, good.
And congratulations for doing that. And I'm sorry you had to do that, kind of both.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad to hear that I'm doing it right, because it's hard to know, like, is the cash where it's supposed to be? Like, did I think that through correctly?
You did. You should be a financial planner. You did a great job. Better than the Edward Jones guy with 17 mutual funds. All right.
Thank you.
Hang in there, girl. We are absolutely rooting for you. And these situations are becoming more and more common, gang. So try to have a conversation with your parents. We are going to bring someone on to talk about some of this intergenerational planning, because I feel like it is something that so many people are confronting, whether it's your adult children that you're supporting and you're trying to create really smart and responsible next generation, or it's your older generation and you're worried and we hear from you all the time. So let us know if you're in a situation like Donna's and we can try to help you out. If so, just go to jillonmoney.com, click the contact us button. Let us know if you want to come on the air. We'll walk you through it. While you're on the website, don't forget to sign up for the free weekly newsletter and check out all the great content that lives there. You can subscribe to this program on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Please leave us a rating and review wherever you listen. And hey, let's put our hands metaphorically on Donna's back. My God, is she unbelievable? She's doing a great job, or anyone else you think needs a little bit of a virtual hug. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.